My name is Ronit Munshi. I'm in 12th grade and I'm currently located in San Diego, California at the time of this. My experience with the one-on-one program was good overall. In terms of choosing the topic itself, me and my mentor who worked with me throughout the whole process, we kind of told me, hey, look, think of some problems you want to solve and then come back to me in the next meeting and then we'll discuss your top one and then look at the other ones and see which one is reasonable enough to actually do within the time frame of the whole program itself. So the project I did in actually ended up submitting was the predicting fake job listings from real ones using machine learning models project. Though that wasn't my original idea in the first place. I had a completely different idea, which I think was giving, I'm trying to remember, trying to find a way to give people the likelihood of whether or not their job would be replaced by AI in the future, using AI to do that, funnily enough. But that was kind of why I wanted to do in the first place. But the data set I found and based the whole topic off of in the first place, he realized that it wouldn't doesn't really have much machine learning capabilities based on what we were trying to do. So we kind of just pivoted after that, like in the middle to like that idea. And the ideas themselves mainly came from just looking at data sets themselves and seeing what I could resolve from them. So I really didn't know how to like come up with an initial problem on my own. I just looked online at data sets from Kaggle and saw, oh, this might work for this type of project or this project and that type of. I joined the program as a means to have something for the science fair because I participated in years before, but I wanted to try to do something different because the last three times I did so were all like engineering based with the kind of the same topic of make a robot that moves in a different way. First two times were like insect robot, spider robot. The last one was like I'll move it like a little Segway where it has two wheels but standing up. So I wanted to try something different after those three because those are all kind of similar in their well, the execution were all different, but they're all kind of similar in the topics. I wanted to try something else. So I joined the program at the same time. So at that point, I applied for the science fair and then they said yes. So and that kind of helped because I'm trying to remember the process because I think you have to make an abstract initially to like pitch the idea to them before they accept it. That kind of helped in like making the whole thing easier because I had an abstract at the start that I could edit by the end when the final research paper was there and done. So the whole process was kind of like aligned to each other, mainly just given that the science fair had its own timeline, kind of getting all the work done for the program that done enough so that I had enough to show to the science fair people in order to get it like initially submitted. Because after you can just apply to the science fair and they'll let you in, but you have by like January, February-ish, you have to give them an like update and like how much you've done and like what you have and what your like full hypothesis results are current at that point. And if it's good enough for their standards, they'll let you in and go to the actual fair in March. But if it's not, they won't let you in. So I think I had enough by that point where they let me in. So but that's kind of how it kind of worked. It was more or less aligned to each other where I was working on the program at the same time as the science fair was doing their whole checking like applying to the science fair and then checking to see your current progress at the point where they wanted to see it. And then that led into that final fair again. Learning process of one, how to make a research paper because I didn't know how you do that. I've like read them for like school stuff, like uses like evidence and other things, but I never knew how those kind of came to be in that sense. I know like a science fair project is similar, but that's not so much like, oh, you have a full paper that's structured. It's more or less you have your big poster board and you're explaining it to a judge or whoever, like what the thing is. So it's kind of interesting how to see like just the general process of how to just format a research paper and like the steps you go from the, coming up with a concept of what you wanted to try to prove to the final end result. And then I guess the second would be just the more in-depth learning about machine learning topics like this project's case, a logistic regression model and a bi-directional LSTM model. I think those were the two because previously I did in that same year, 2023, I did the Inspirit AI scholars thing just to like learn about some AI stuff, given how 2022, 2023, that was kind of when this whole like now popular boom of this AI stuff started after OpenAI did ChatGPT and made that public. So I wanted to learn more. And that was a good course as well, but I wanted to get a more in-depth understanding of specific things, as well as have something for the science fair as well. So that kind of also helped as well in that regard of expanding my knowledge even further, which has helped since it's a one-on-one versus you being in a group of hundreds of students talking to the instructors, which that was also good, but this is also more helpful, obviously, since it's one-on-one. You can ask more personal questions. If you're having a specific issue, you need to like ask for help. And well, that's kind of more or less it.